jelly. I'm over here today, heating things up with the refrigerator. The missing sock. Am I right, fellas? You look everywhere for it, you can't find it. Probably sitting off that sock farm, right next to that dog farm they send all the sick dogs to when you're a kid. My dog actually did go to a farm though, but then it died. Well, what if I told you that there was an entire government agency devoted just to finding missing socks? You'd probably walk over and slap your mom across the face, wouldn't you, you filthy animal? Well, jump for joy. The Bureau of Missing Socks is here to find your misplaced stockings. But what if it never existed? Well, grab your socks and prepare to see the glory, the horror, and the mystery of the Bureau of Missing Socks. The story begins with the first foot. In the before times, people just didn't wear socks because life sucked. By ancient Greece, people were wearing socks made of matted animal hair. Eventually, we did start to make cloth, and the sock was born. But at this time, most people weren't wearing these socks. No, they were wearing these socks. Now, I want you to take a look at these medieval foot bags and tell me when you think that they went out of standard use. Around the Magna Carta, the printing press, the foot wrap went out of standard use in the Russian army in 2007. People were watching the Nut Shack and still wearing these. And they did not go quietly into that good night either. There was an entire ceremony devoted just to foot wraps in the Ukrainian army, with paintings, fables, and even poems devoted to those lovely sacks. Now, the man who would bring us out of the slime of history was an inventor by the name of William Lee. The legend goes that the woman that William was dating at the time was more interested in knitting socks than she was in him. So William was like, "Bada bing, I will invent the knitting machine, and you will have to love me." So William kept going to Queen Elizabeth to try and get a patent, and at first she was like, the socks are too coarse, and then he improved on it, and then she was like, "You're gonna put all the sock people out of work." So you have Queen Elizabeth trying to forge the English identity, and the ShamWow guy keeps coming in like, "You wanna see my sock portal?" After seeing that things aren't gonna be working out with the Queen, William goes into business with this guy called George Brooks. And everything is going well for a while, until the position that George was promised by Queen Elizabeth is given away by King James after she dies. George and some other priests decide to do the right thing and try to kill King James. And of course, once the plot is found out, George and the other conspirators are executed. Seeing that England was obviously not the place to build his sock empire, William moved to France, where he was finally granted the patent by King Henry. And then King Henry got assassinated and all of his sock contracts went bust. And then he died alone. The sock game is brutal, man. While it was horrible for William, the knitting machine made making socks 6 times easier. But with so many socks floating around, people began losing socks. Fights broke out in the streets, wars started, countries crumbled. And it was during the American Civil War that one man would rise to the occasion to finally put an end to the mystery of the missing sock. Joseph Smithson. Horrible name. After the disaster at Bull Run, George McClellan tried to raise morale where he could. One of these efforts was by transferring a particularly squeaky officer to the quartermaster unit. His name? Oh yeah. What's his face? What the general didn't know was Joseph was previously a haberdasher, and he used all the tips and tricks of the trade to transform the unit into the most efficient part of the army. And it didn't take long before Smithson was put in control of all socks in the Union Army. Joseph was an extremely frugal man, a trait shown best when he issued General Order 489065, which ordered that each soldier turn in a pair of socks before receiving new ones, and document all those missing. It was at this time that Joseph's mortal enemy finally reared its ugly head, the missing sock. Across the entire army, when a sock was lost, it was almost always lost one sock at a time. Fearing that it was a Confederate conspiracy, Smithson worked day and night trying to figure out the mystery of the missing sock. even going up against direct orders from Abraham Lincoln. But unfortunately, the war ended before Joseph was able to get a definitive answer. After being discharged, he went back to the haberdashery, but with his mind encapsulated by the mystery of the lost sock, his business suffered, and he died shortly after. After the war, the bureau that Joseph had created to find missing socks fell into obscurity, until the organization was transferred over to civilian control, where corrupt businessmen purchased millions upon millions of socks, lining their own pockets in the process. How dare you sit where he sat? How dare you besmirch the name of Joseph Smithson? I'm sorry. I can get emotional about Joe. Anyways, with all these millions of socks laying around, the government made sure that they went to good use and issued each soldier in the Spanish-American War 12 pairs. But during the war, the soldiers kept reporting thousands upon thousands of socks being lost daily. After some research, however, the brass figured out that the soldiers were in fact not losing these socks, but were instead trading them into local prostitutes for, well, to say it another way, it was during this time that the phrase "sock it to me" came into popular vernacular. Sock prostitution. Not even once. But its biggest role in history was actually probably during the Cold War, when the CIA figured out that Stalin thought that the place was actually being used as a cover to build secret weapons. So, leaning in on this, the government built this huge new impressive headquarters on the Potomac River. Communications to the new headquarters went through the roof. Suspected moles were encouraged to sign on with the department, and a new code was created that was so impressive, not even the guy who created it knew what it meant. Afterwards, it was found that 60% of the USSR's spy budget just went to the Bureau. The Bureau of Lost Socks. After the collapse of the Iron Curtain, though, the Bureau was able to return to its original purpose: finding the missing sock. But what if it was all a lie? When you start to look at these articles, you realize that they're all written in a very similar language. Like, so similar that it's actually just exactly the same. Like, they literally just copied and pasted from article to article. So just for you, I decided to crawl through the underbelly of the internet to get down to the source. I have found the official website for the Bureau of Lost Socks. Yep, so here we go. Official U.S. government website, funbureau.com. Oh man, looks like the Bureau's been getting some press in Today's Christian Woman. Rolling Stone, eat your heart out. Dead link. Okay. Well, can't all be singers. Most secure sock vault on the internet. Dead link. Alright. Conrad the Sock Comedian. Jay Leno. Watch it. Dead link. Man, I was really looking forward to Conrad. Dead link. Dead link. Dead link. Dead link. Dead link. Sock talk. Whoa. Dr. Coconut's hit single, I Lost My Sock. Chords for you to play along. Now, normally I would just play you the song, but if I get a copyright strike by someone called Dr. Coconuts, I don't think that I can go on living, that is. Man, we got sock history, we got sock movies, we have sock research, we have a sock market. You can join the sock SWAT team. Sock Yaks. Oh! Have you ever wanted to see something so pure, so unadulterated? And this is all sponsored by Luxury Car Rentals in Miami. Now, I don't know what the Venn diagram of people who view sock literature and people who rent luxury cars in Miami is, but I think that it's just two circles. It's a real website too. Like, the car people really did put their ads on this website. So, in conclusion, the Bureau of Lost Socks is not real. But you can buy it. Yeah, get a hold of him. He is entertaining all offers. And so, in conclusion, don't believe everything that you see on the internet. And if you know anybody from Miami who rents cars, ask them what they think about songs. This has been Professor Jelly, signing out.